What's up? I'm back. In this segment, I'm gonna it's kind of a video I did with Macalesi about the fourth dimension. I think it was the fourth and fifth dimension, and it's kind of like a little continuation of that, but not as much a continuation of that as it's kind of funny. It's kind of a continuation of that merged with my observations of Marvel and DC and comic books, the universes that they both created. And the interesting thing about it is that basically in the video I was with Macalesi, I was basically saying that when you look at the astral plane, right, which is basically the fourth and fifth dimension, and you look at the astral and you look and you say, well, the astral, the fourth dimension is lower dimension. It's more dimension where it's where time and space come together. So a lot of times what happens often is that the fourth dimension is more a dimension of illusions, and the fifth dimension is more dimensions where you would start to see possibilities that happen that don't happen here. So, for instance, everything that happens here now in the third dimension is actually present in the fourth dimension, right? So, when people, like when you see psychics describe what they see in the spiritual world, they really talk about the fourth dimension. That's why when they describe what they see in the spiritual world, they don't see other cities, right? Meaning, let's say you have Texas and there's a city called New New Arena. I'm just getting something stupid. There's a city in the fifth dimension in Texas called New Arena. That doesn't exist in the third dimension, right? There's no city in Texas called New Arena. So New Arena only has to exist in the fifth dimension, and it's a possibility basically that doesn't exist for us, but it exists there. So the fifth dimension is more a dimension where you see things that don't happen. Like your mind is totally expanded. There is no illusion, so your mind is much more expanded in that realm. And the fourth dimension is almost a copy like us. So when you take this to comics and you see Marvel and DC, and you see the fact that, in a way, DC always has cities that don't exist in the physical, right? That don't exist. Like they have fictional cities, as they call it. They have fictional cities where Marvel has cities that Marvel doesn't have cities that don't exist really. Black Panther's country does, but and Doctor Doom's does. But for the most part, Marvel doesn't really have as much countries and cities that don't exist in the physical. So they don't have as much fictional cities as they say. So what is this symbolic of as a creator? Well, as a creator, it's just symbolic of the fact that the Marvel universe, if you want to look at it for how you would apply this to metaphysics, it's describing, it's an example of a lower universe or a universe that's more like ours, right? Where the DC universe is more of a universe that it's more like, I guess you could say, higher frequency. And if you look at it, that's why in DC, the characters tend to be more powerful, right? Um, Even the population of the DC universe, the general population of the DC universe, the regular people, they're not as fearful of meta humans as in Marvel, where the population is very fearful of mutants and inhumans. And in fact, not even of mutants and inhumans. The characters in DC, the population trusts them more than the superheroes in Marvel. So I remember when Justice League and Avengers actually had a crossover, and the two sides were critiquing each other, and the Marvel side was saying, "Wow, they got museums of the superheroes in DC universe, and DC universe, the people kind of worship the heroes, right?" Where when the Justice League or the DC universe characters would look at the Marvel universe, they would say, "Wow, look how you have your universe like a disaster. Universe is the brink of chaos." And it's kind of a play on the fact that that's how it is in the fourth and fifth dimension. The fifth dimension is more higher frequency. The fourth dimension is more lower frequency. Now, does this mean one is better than the other one? No, it's not, because that's like saying, well, we're in a third and that's better than the fourth and fifth. It's just in terms of being a creator and seeing what you tap into. And that's the beautiful thing with art. The beautiful thing with art is that art and science fiction is about exploring possibilities. So I remember when even someone, when I was looking at the comments in the video I did with Macalesi, where people were saying, well, one guy, not people, people loved the video actually, but one guy said, this is new age stuff, right? And it's kind of funny because I think this is why the spiritual community has a problem, because the spiritual community has a problem because we don't really realize that spirituality is supposed to make us, motivate us to look at new possibilities in the physical that we can't see before. The problem with spiritual people is that spiritual people tend to be into escapism. They want to escape the problems of reality, where it's not really about escaping the problems of reality. It's about actually embracing them and, in a sense, finding new ways to actually make that problem go away or for that problem to be reversed, right? That's what spirituality does. Spirituality is supposed to find new ways for you to increase. It's basically supposed to increase your intellect. It's supposed to increase, in some ways, increase your love for the physical, because then you see that when you love the physical, you can see the truth about the physical. And you can see that the physical is a necessity, but it's one where you don't let control you. It's not escapism. And art, in some ways, is the perfect example of that. And that's why always found it interesting that the same people will flock to my spiritual videos, but they won't flock to the science fiction videos the same way. And in a lot of ways, it just shows that people are normally into an escapism version of spirituality, which is not really spirituality, right? So when I take this to comics, I always thought comics was probably better than traditional sci-fi in terms of upholding that spiritual legacy, where they look at, it's not about me saying the DC universe and the Marvel universe are actually real. This is why I don't want somebody to take a part of this video and say, oh, I'm saying that those universes are real. No, they're not real, right? What I'm saying is they're symbolic of how it would be in the fourth and fifth, where the fourth is closer to our reality, so it has a lot more darkness to it. It has a lot more problems to it, where the fifth is where it expands. It's a big difference. And listen, even if you don't like to get into all that stuff, I mean, even in quantum physics now, they kind of know that there's probably other dimensions. It's kind of, they know that. So it's not like it's something where it's science fiction talk about other dimensions. In fact, I always say that the real truth of our reality, science fiction doesn't even describe our real third dimensional reality the way it should. I've always said that. So that's why if you're looking at this video and I'm saying, oh, Marvel and DC universe is actually real. No, they're not real, right? I don't want anyone to. I have to keep saying it. I'm not saying that in this video. What I'm saying is they're symbolic of how those realms probably are. One is closer to us, so it's more like us. One is where it expands. So I hope that helps. I love both Marvel and DC. Until next time, peace.